Capricorns. Cappies. All right. So kind of like Cancers, Capricorns are, how do I put this? Wimps when it comes to trusting yourself. Okay. You have to love yourself to trust yourself. That's it. You have to love yourself to trust yourself. Love and trust are synonymous. Okay. That means no, you don't have credit, you don't have a resume, you don't have a credit rating, you don't have this, you don't have that, you don't have all these things, but somehow you know in your heart you will be different, that you can do something someone else can't do. So your ego has been allowing, I think, your mind to guilt you out of it. I think your ego has also been under attack for 15 years with Pluto. So goddess, I know how hard it is. Gods, I know how hard it is. It's tough. It's almost over. But this is the last breaking point. You have got to trust yourself on what your heart tells you is okay. If your heart says it's okay, do it. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, Mars in Cancer says, therefore, every relationship you have may be corrupt. Because I don't mean corrupt, I just mean they weren't based on trusting yourself. I don't think Capricorn, I have to say, I love you guys. I've married you before, okay, many times. But you don't marry for love a lot of times, okay? Like, you don't marry loving yourself for a lot of times. And so I think a lot of your relationships are all based on this needing someone to be your emotional codependent to fill in for where you're not acting on self-trust. So I think you're in a lot of emotionally codependent relationships where you're all professional at work and coming home and beating it up on your partner or expecting your partner to pay you. And I think that day is over. I think you have to find mutually nurturing relationships where you are nurturing them as much as they are nurturing you, and where you are not hanging on that relationship in order to feel like you can go hit it in the office tomorrow. You've got to have it on your own, alone. The cheese stands alone. I rest, Your Honor.
Cheese stands alone, the cheese stands alone. Yeah. So for me, the first part of this is I keep hearing like regrets twofold, meaning there might be regrets saying, should I have distanced myself from that relationship? Should I have ended that situation that I was in? And so there's a question of regret whether you should have done it. And then also regret of saying, I really haven't put that application into myself. I haven't put the application into what I know I should have done for myself. So similar to Sagittarius in a sense, that kind of contradictory, but it's more about regrets. Like I feel like I don't know if I made the right decision, questioning yourself. And then I think that questioning of regret like pushes you in to this feeling of like really nailing it down, like really feel like you're in your essence actually. And so if it's, again, similar with, I don't know which time I was saying this, but if you're Scorpios, so it's similarity. If you're going to start a new project, you'll start a new project. If you're going to start getting to that business, and I feel a lot of like attention during this time, right? So whether you're getting attention solo for whatever solo work you're doing, or attention for a creation, or just recognition to say, hey, you did this. Look what you've done. You accomplished this. So I think that's when in Cancer, you're going to get a lot more of that recognition, which will boost more of your confidence to continue going in that path. So when you start being like regretful and saying, maybe I shouldn't have done this decision, understand you should have, and don't regret the fact that you didn't do more for yourself. Start doing more for yourself. And so yeah, I think that to me, spotlight will be on Capricorns during that time.
Well, it's their birthday coming up too, so
That's
there
right.
will be spotlighted.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. My dad's
So they endure it. Yeah, and I think you're so right about Capricorns like having regrets for quitting things too soon, or firing people too soon. So it's like, can I go to the bathroom? You're fired. Like, and then like 4 secretaries are like, that first one was not too bad. I guess bathrooms out of. They like are so quick to just like, like cut it all, and that's because they don't trust their heart. That their heart's saying it's gonna be good, it's gonna work out. They don't trust that. They don't trust their heart telling it. They're trusting the evidence, statistics, what HR told them, what their lawyer told them. They're not trusting what their heart's telling them. And so I think they're missing out on a lot of opportunity because they're judging it by the outer world.
Now, I do have to say, I have been noticing objectively that Cancers lately, their intuition is going through the roof. I've been seeing with a lot of
Capricorn.
Sorry, yeah. Let me rephrase that for editing purposes. Now, I have been seeing that a lot of Capricorns have been experiencing a lot more, I would say, intuition. Their intuition is going through the roof. I noticed that primarily with my dad, actually. All of a sudden, he's like, intuition's like, he says something, it's like, I'm like, how do you know that? He was right. And so I keep like encouraging him to be in that state. And so I think that's very evident of like coming into their own, and then coming into their light in a sense. So even with my wonderful mod Nina, who's also in the room here, she's also been coming to her own light and that recognition finally after so many, years of being, kicking the back seat. So I've been noticing that even people around me.
Yeah. That's Saturn in the third, and the reason why their intuition is skyrocketing is because they stop feeling
Right.
guilty.
Exactly.
It was let things open. It's like, now that I'm not guilty.
Right. And you're not
Who's that talking?
stupid. You're not less than. You're not limited in your abilities. Yeah, because that's another thing I've been seeing consistently with the Capricorns too.
Yeah, and they have to build the new economy with Pluto and Aquarius. So yeah, pull your head out, love yourself, focus on what you love. If you want to be like the next, Steve Jobs, which I know all of you do, or the next, Estee Lauder, which I know all of you do, you got to trust what your heart's telling you. You can't go by what the market's done. You're going to be boring and familiar.
Right. But see, you can't tell a Capricorn just love yourself because they're like going to process it. I say to them, put love into yourself. It means that you're choosing to put love into it because they won't understand, like, oh, just love yourself. What does that mean? I don't know what I'm doing, But if you kind of say it logically to put love into it, I think they'll digest it a little better because they realize, oh, that's an action. I can do this by putting love into something, Because I think sometimes there's a block with certain signs when you say to love themselves. They just don't quite understand what that means when they hear that.
Like Capricorn's like a dog. They're like,
yeah, huh?
It's Sirius Joy.